After we have gone through the qualities of the leaderless, the faceless, the fearless, and we have seen that is the true character of the government of Kenya. But it's a true character of the government of God. As much as we are saying that, we are coming to the last lap, that I want us, let us not miss the mark. I'm not talking about those boys and those girls, those who are under 50 or 40 years, the ones we call the one. Some of you are calling him millennium, wengine mnajiita Gen Z, wengine mnajiita analog, wengine digital. There are so many names. I don't know after this which one we are going to have. I've talked about the state under the government. In democracy, we say the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And as a church, we need to have structures, organization, and therefore we must abide the Bible. As much as we believe in the Bible, it is written on the context of the situation where it was written. Mark that the Bible is written according to the situation. Take an example of Paul. When he was in prison, is when he wrote the book of Romans. And when he wrote the book of Romans, he said we must obey authority. Because when you are in the cell, when you are in the government's hands, you have no option. You have to obey it. And that's why he wrote in chapter 13, obey every government because God has allowed it. I don't know whether that statement is spiritual or is political or is a social aspect. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. That when Paul was in Rome, in his home, where he rented for 2 years, is when he wrote the book of Romans. And in chapter 13 is when he brings the element to submit to the authority. And I'm repeating, I don't know whether it was a political statement, or it was a spiritual, or it was a social, so that as much as he's in that cell, get me right. I'm not criticizing the Bible, but I'm saying he wrote it according to the situation he was. And that's why in the book of Timothy, he says, I know, and I've fought a good fight. That after this, I will be brought out, because it's when he wrote the book of 2 Timothy. And they knew his time of death has come, because Nero said, if I release Paul, they told him there will be turmoil. So he saw it's better to do away with one person instead of having issues and challenges, crises and changes. That is a parable. Sometimes some of us may be sacrificed for others to survive. The state and the church. And if there is anything which has brought a lot of wars, if there is anything which has brought more death than even alcohol, than even accidents, is religion. And many of us don't know it. I'm repeating that if there is anything which has brought a lot of conflict, if there is anything which has brought a lot of bloodshed, is religion. Yes, we are talking of Israel going against the Palestinians. Those are two boys who are fighting, the children of Abraham, Ishmael and Isaac. Isaac is the father of the Christian. And Ishmael is the father of the Muslims. And those are the people who are fighting in Gaza. Those are the people who are fighting in Palestine. Those are the people who are fighting in Israel. Even in Ukraine and in Russia, it's the same thing. If there is anything which has shed more blood, which has made more deaths, it is religion. Do your research. So as much as we do have religious activities, and I'm not ashamed to say our church leaders have failed us, including even the Catholics. Where were you when these boys were going overboard? It's because they have no confidence in the leadership of the church, including my own church. The Muslims have spoken, the Catholics have spoken, the Pentecostals have spoken, but these boys and the girls are not listening because of poor leadership. Let us put things in their own perception and reflect clearly without the biasness. I'm not supporting the young generations, but I'm saying what they have said is the truth. But the church has been swaggered, has been moved from its right track. You readers, if you are listening to me, get this, even if you are not getting anything. How do we accept the politician to come to our church and give donations and we accept them if we are not making this country corrupt? Tithe and offering is enough for us to do other activities. It's because we church leaders have accepted the donation in the name of tithes and offering from our politicians who are good, faithful Christians. But they are using it as an avenue to achieve their own ends. So the young generation, including me, we have no confidence in our leadership in our church. So even if you say stop that, we will not listen because you are also soiled with the money from politicians. We can say, yes, the government has done bad. It has killed our boys, it has killed our girls, it has done X, Y, Z. The church is not exceptional because we accepted their money. I'm subject to be collected, but that's my stand that the church has moved out of its way. Stand and speak the truth. I've said there's no church which has not accepted the politicians. Remember, these people we are calling politicians, these are our brothers, these are our sisters, these are our own, these are our boys. But they have their own forum where they are supposed to do. If it's a donation and other assisting the church, let them do it decently without announcing. How can I give my 100 shillings? You don't say it. But when somebody gives you 200, you have to pronounce it. It's because it's a politician. Let me put in the language you understand. If I bring 100,000 shillings to my church, people may start asking, who is this? But if a politician comes with 1 million, my 100,000 will never be seen. And that's where we lost the track. I'm not denying gifts and donation from the politicians. But which method are we using? The Pharisees, who were hypocrites, they were doing it on the public, for the public to see. And that's where the church has read. Can we do things of God differently so that even if a politician brings you 1 million, 5 million, name it, let it be between the church and the politician. But when he puts the cross and brings the board, everybody knows, minus X, Y, Z, minus President so-and-so, minus CS so-and-so, minus X, Y, we could not have reached here. And those of us who are weak in faith, we start following the clouds. And now when the judge wants to put the voice up, we start wondering. The other day, it was Mwenye Nguvu Mubishe. Now you want to tell him, can you stop him? See the working. See the working. See the practical. I want to finish by saying this. We have many types of leadership. But this one of fearless, leaderless, troubleless, partyless, faceless is the way to go, and that's the kingdom of God. It reminded me that in the old years, When Samuel was a prophet of God, he was fearless. That's why he had to tell the other one that God accepts your heart, not the sacrifice. He told the king, you were given instruction by God, go and clear everything. But because you have brought this king alive, Haggai and some sheep, that you may give sacrifice. That's why the Bible is very clear. And the categorical, and it says clearly, obedience is better than sacrifice. So my shouting part is, can we obey the voice of God and not the voice of the money, not the voice of tithe, not the voice of how much you have given? Obedience. In my church leaders, where I belong, one of them, because I'm also one of the leaders. Let us take instruction of God seriously, and obedience is the key point. And this is why this generation, I'm sorry, wants to take us back. That we must be fearless. And among other qualities. I don't know whether I'm communicating. Let us obey God than man. God bless you. The next time, next week, same person, same station. Bye. God bless you.